Good evening, I'm Allison McCarthy.
And I'm John Daly. Inside Las Vegas this Tuesday. It's a stalking victim's worst fear, that she'll be attacked before the police can help.
But that fear is over for now for another Contact 13 victim whose suspected stalker is behind bars tonight, the second such arrest in a month. Contact 13 was there for the arrest and has this exclusive report.
And short of getting a gun and blowing him away, which sounds real preferable right now, at least jail time, I would have some peace in there.
Lisa finally has that peace of mind after police moved in and arrested the man who's suspected of terrorizing her for the past year and a half.
You know what we're talking about?
No.
Stalking the girl?
Which one?
Are there more than one?
Police say 36-year-old Norman Victoria is a total stranger to Lisa, who's been calling her at work, leaving obscene notes on her car, and even following her home. Police believe Victoria, who lives near her workplace, just randomly started harassing Lisa after seeing her in the parking lot one day. That's why police say it's been a difficult case to work. Most victims had a previous relationship with their stalker. Victoria now faces several misdemeanor charges.
And he will have to appear in court and answer to the charges of harassment and annoying phone calls and threats to life, all of which he has done to our victim.
The law is finally on my side, protecting me.
Contact 13 first brought you Lisa's story last May when we went undercover to try and catch her stalker in the act. Finally, just 2 months ago, we captured him on videotape crouching behind a bush across from Lisa's workplace. Lisa herself has snapped photos of her stalker and has been a vocal supporter for the passage of a stalking bill now before lawmakers. Her message to other victims is to get tough and to seek help from anyone who will listen.
It took a while, but somebody finally heard me, and now he's behind bars. And I am so glad. I couldn't be happier.
Norman Victoria was arraigned in Justice Court this morning. He remains in jail tonight on $15,000 bail. A trial date will be set tomorrow. If convicted, he faces up to 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine for each of the 3 misdemeanor counts against him.
Another warning tonight for women. 2 robbery suspects are targeting women in Las Vegas. In the past 3 weeks, there have been 8 robberies. And as John Gregory tells us, the suspects look for women who appear wealthy.
They have struck 8 times in 8 different locations. Each time they target victims driving expensive cars.
They're picking a vehicle where it's obvious that the owners or the drivers have some substantial means of money, very expensive vehicles, and then taking their chances and following them.
The robberies have occurred over the past 3 weeks, primarily in the southern part of the valley. The robbers are hidden from their victims by ski masks, and both are armed with pistols. The suspects are bold, in some cases confronting their victims in very public places. Police say one woman was robbed right here in this parking lot. The robbers got away with close to $150,000 in jewelry and cash. In all, the suspects are responsible for stealing close to $500,000. Sometimes from victims parked in their own driveways.
They are following these people home and confronting them as they pull into their driveways while their garage door is opening or while one individual is getting out to open the garage door to pull the car into the garage.
Police say the best thing to do to avoid such a situation is to stay in well-lit areas. And if you think you're being followed, keep driving until you reach a busy area. The suspects may be bold, but they're not stupid. John Gregory, News 13.
And police believe the suspects are in their late 20s or early 30s. Both are believed to be about 5'10".
Turning our attention now toward the tragic situation in Waco, Texas. A surviving member of the Branch Davidian cult says authorities started the fire that destroyed the cult compound in Waco. The unidentified cult member made the accusation to reporters while being arraigned at the federal courthouse in Waco. The man said an armored vehicle was battering the compound walls, causing a lantern to fall over, igniting that blaze. He insists there was no plan for suicide by the cult. Meanwhile, President Clinton went on the defensive today, taking responsibility for the federal assault, but not the blame for what followed. Up to 86 people died in yesterday's fiery end of the 51-day standoff. 9 people survived. President Clinton blamed David Koresh for the deaths, saying he ordered the fires that killed those he controlled. The blaze broke out shortly after FBI agents began pumping tear gas into the compound.
That they had reason to believe that the children who were still inside the compound were being abused significantly, as well as being forced to live in unsanitary and unsafe conditions. So for those reasons, they wanted to move at that time.
So far, only one body has been recovered from the smoldering ruins of the compound. And the debate rages on now over how federal agents handled the Waco standoff. Even here in Las Vegas, people are expressing their anger. This crowd of nearly 100 gathered outside the federal building this morning. They say the government is responsible for murder.
But when our federal government could have put a 10-foot fence around that compound and put guards at both ends of the gate and waited and let them starve themselves out until they come out, those 100 lives would have never been lost.
I'll defend your right any time to believe what you want. You want to go worship an onion? Go for it. It's not against the law to be a nut in this country or to say you're Jesus Christ. My point is that when we start violating our constitutional rights, that's when I have a problem. That's why I'm here.
Reporter Steve Krupe was at that protest today. We're pretty far away from Waco. It's a bit surprising to see people protesting here.
Exactly. I think the bottom line is simply that a lot of people are upset. People not just in Texas or in Washington, D.C., but in places like Las Vegas. I was surprised to see so many people out there today, but then again, a lot of those protesters are familiar faces that we seem to see at a lot of protests around town, so this may simply be their latest cause.
They were at the federal building. Were there any federal authorities around to respond to them?
Well, not really. They directed their protest pretty much to passersby, to motorists on the street, and there was no direct communication with any federal officials. They were just simply out there to get their opinion out.
Okay, thank you very much, Steve. John?
Well, it seems that many of you agree with the protesters and believe the FBI mishandled the situation in Waco. We received a substantial number of phone calls in yesterday's news poll. Here's what we asked. Did federal agents use good judgment in the Waco standoff? 36% of you said yes. 64% said no. They did not use good judgment. We received more than 2,200 calls on this question. We thank you very much. Also, a programming note. Tonight at 7, ABC News will air a special one-hour program on the Waco standoff. Peter Jennings will host that program.
In Southern California today, a former employee at Universal Studios opened fire, injuring 9 people. The shooting happened this morning at the MCA headquarters at Universal Studios. Authorities say 58-year-old John Jarvis fired a high-powered rifle into the building, hitting 3 people. 6 others were injured by flying glass. Jarvis was a tram driver back in the early 80s before he was laid off. He was taken into custody later today without a struggle.
Well, you have heard a lot recently about illegal dumping in the desert, but when a local man wanted to legally dispose of some gas, he quickly found out why so many people head for the desert. Mark Sayre shows us the dilemma.
It hasn't been in the water for almost 3 years, and it had almost a full tank of gas, so I brought it over here, and the first thing I have to do is get the old gas out of it.
So Ron Wolven siphoned 23 gallons into these portable containers.
And now I have to dispose of the gas. My first thought is a little after-dark trip out in the desert, but conscience got the best of me, so I decided not to do that. And this morning I made numerous phone calls, and nobody could tell me what to do with my gas.
Silver State Disposal does offer free hazardous waste handling several times each year. But Wolven missed the one last weekend and did not want the gas around his home until the next one in September.
In an area this big, do you think that there should be one place, perhaps government-sponsored, that would take this stuff for free?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
You'd be willing to pay for that on your tax bill?
So Wolven called Channel 13, and we got in touch with Environmental Technologies. At $2 a pound, it would have cost him $300 to get rid of his fuel. But the company took it for free.
Most people don't realize that groundwater is at about 10 feet throughout most of the valley. You want to discourage that type of practice.
Isola says hazardous chemicals make it too complex and too expensive for either the public or private sector to maintain a free year-round disposal service for residents.
We are just a quarter of a mile from Silver State's recycling plant, yet somebody has seen fit to illegally dump here. Of course, we can't see things like gas, which have already seeped into the desert, and so nobody knows just how many people did not have the conscience of Ron Wolven.
Well, I feel better about it, yeah.
Mark Sayre, News 13.
And if you have any hazardous chemicals around the house, the next free disposal day will be September 11th. Still a long way away.
And when you see how difficult it is to dispose of this, you can understand, although not condone, what people are doing out there.
To give them that idea.
Exactly. Well, there's still much more news straight ahead. He was one of the most popular voices on radio, but no more. We'll have more on the departure of one of the breakfast flakes in just a moment.
Plus, city officials in West Las Vegas turn to the community for help to rebuild the city.
Let's get personal. Get in shape for summer at Judy Gillette's 101 in 6 weeks or more. Bring a partner and save 50%. Call now.
Taco Cabana's Moonrise breakfasts are so good, they serve them 12 hours a day, from 11 p.m. to 11 a.m. Real Tex-Mex eye-openers like huevos rancheros and cheesy eggs mexicana for 720 minutes a day. They're prepared from scratch, all for under $3, 43,200 seconds each day. So when you're hungry for breakfast, there's only one place to go, the new Taco Cabana in Las Vegas.
The event you're about to witness will truly amaze you. On a night Susan Todd would never forget, she discovered amazing savings, where she found the Mazda 626 with more interior room and a better basic warranty than Altima and Accord for just $199 a month with $1,100 down during amazing savings now, where amazing value can easily happen to you. Mazda, it just feels right.
Why I got return call from Centel by Gary Newell. It never fails. But with return call, I can automatically call back any call I can't catch when I'm immersed in other things. Oh, gee, I hope I didn't make you rush to the phone. Get return call from Centel. Call 811, call 811.
Mastriani Fashion Spring Blowout Sale. Thousands of designers, men's suits, sport coats, and slacks. All 100% wool must go now. Suits valued to $375, now $99. Sport coats valued $375, now $69 to $159. Slacks valued to $110, now $45. Name brand shoes, Bally, Bruno Magli, Pierre Cardin, and more, valued to $250, now $29 to $99. All merchandise has been tagged for this blowout sale at Mastriani Fashions.
If you're an early riser, you may already know the Breakfast Flakes are missing a little something. KLUC's morning DJ, Mike O'Brien, and the Breakfast Flakes have broken up. While O'Brien is usually outspoken on the air, both he and the station are not talking about his departure.
Yeah, when Kent, getting back to your original question, when I had first heard about that tower.
For nearly 8 years, DJ Mike O'Brien's voice has traveled across the KLUC airwaves. Known best as the head breakfast flake, O'Brien was one of the top-rated morning DJs in Las Vegas. In fact, he was recently picked as the #1 DJ in the Review Journal's reader poll. But after all these years, the head flake may have gotten soggy. O'Brien won't say exactly why he left KLUC, but Talk in Radioland says he was terminated for reasons undisclosed. The news of his departure really broke the hearts of his competition.
We thought, much like Mount Rushmore, he would be here long after we left. And it is like...
He's been here, what, 7 years now?
Yeah, so. It's a long time in radio. And an institution is gone.
So, you guys are really torn up about this, we can see. KLUC says sidekick Julio the Gardener will keep things crunchy until a new head breakfast flake takes over. In his honor, DJs Johnson and Tofty wrote O'Brien this song.
Goodbye, O'Brien, and your butt-naked body. Now it's only Julio down at the station.
Julio is on the air right now.
Now it's only Julio down at the station.
Yeah.
Watch the morning show go down in the ratings.
Hey! Angela Rodriguez, News 13.
O'Brien spoke with Angela Rodriguez over the phone today. He says he's relaxing at home and will keep all of his options open. And a footnote, at another radio station, morning DJ team Stitch and Melanie also have broken up. Melanie has moved to another radio station to host her own morning show.
Yeah, the only guys know they can get a plug on somebody else's
They
departure.
sure do.
Well, a lobbying group claims that some dealers at the Sands are being dealt a bad hand. The Nevada Dealers Association says Sands dealers are being fired to make way for former Dunes employees. The new casino manager at the Sands used to work at the Dunes. The association says 8 dealers have been forced to sign resignation letters.
The whole employment force is up in nerves, and you cannot work under those conditions.
Sands officials deny the allegations, but the Dealers Association filed a complaint with the Gaming Control Board. Well, casinos are wasting no time cashing in on a recent decision by a federal judge. The new ruling allows casinos to advertise their gaming operations on radio and television for the first time. This morning, a commercial for a Henderson casino was aired, promoting the casino's bingo parlor.
It's bingo with a bang. Triple J Bingo and Casino in Henderson. Triple J is Southern Nevada's newest bingo game with thousands and thousands of dollars up for grabs every day.
Now, the judge's ruling is being challenged by the FCC, which hopes to appeal that decision to a higher court.
Las Vegas officials are looking for neighborhood help to redevelop West Las Vegas. Construction is already underway to expand Nucleus Plaza, but city officials want to see more commercial development in West Las Vegas. Besides new shopping areas, city planners are also looking at ways to spruce up residential neighborhoods.
If properties are narrow but deep, rather than just having one single family home there, they can put a guest house in the back or build another home in the back. We're looking at paving the alleys, putting in some parking, and putting in some street lights, widening some streets.
The neighborhood plan is on display at the West Las Vegas Library until 8 o'clock tonight.
A gas leak forces authorities to shut down a busy intersection. More on that story in just a moment. Plus, a little later, we will take you poolside, where there's more than just sunbathing going on.
If I buy a truck, there's some things I expect, like horsepower.
Nissan has more than any import brand.
And reliability.
It was ranked best in customer satisfaction.
I expect a little luxury.
AM/FM cassette, chrome wheels.
And a little economy.
And the best gas mileage of any import brand.
With all this, what more could I expect?
How about a $179 a month lease?
$179 a month? Now that I didn't expect.
Nissan, it's time to expect more from a truck.
Marty, this is big league. Who told you about this place? Okay, Rocket, but you asked for it.
Welcome to the All-American Bar and Grill. Everywhere you turn, you find a real thrill. You never know who you're gonna run into. Food and good times are waiting here for you. Shoot it around.
Better call the bullpen. Looks like we're going into extra innings.
Rio.
Set your goals for the Triple Crown 3-on-3 Soccer Shootout World Series, May 1st and 2nd at the Silver Bowl Soccer Complex. It's for all ages and all abilities, separate divisions for premier, competitive, and recreational teams. It's high-scoring, fast-paced, no goalies, and small fields. Get your team together and sign up now at any Green Valley grocer. 3-on-3 Soccer Shootout, May 1st and 2nd at the Silver Bowl Soccer Complex. Sponsored by Mountain Dew, Green Valley Grocer, Classy 100.5, and Channel 13.
Checking our update file tonight, the cross-dressing man posing as a soap star appeared in a Chicago courtroom today. Mark Hinley pleaded guilty to theft of service. Hinley admitted that he conned people into giving him a free hotel room and limousine ride in Chicago. He also admits that he conned his way onto a chartered jet flight from Las Vegas to Chicago. He now faces extradition to Nevada, where he could face even more charges. The man who now owns this mess is willing to pay to find out who's responsible for it. Hundreds of gallons of oil were dumped in the desert near McCarran Airport. So far, the FBI hasn't found the culprits. Property owner Jack Hansen has put up $1,000 to anyone who can give him information that leads to the arrest and conviction of those responsible. They can call him at his home. That number is 877-6036.
Well, World News Tonight is next. Here's a preview.
Coming up on World News Tonight, President Clinton orders an investigation into the events at Waco. The president and the FBI say the government had nothing to do with the deaths of those inside the compound. David Koresh controlled those people. He is the one responsible.
And that is coming up at 5:30, a programming correction. The Peter Jennings special on Waco will air at 10 tonight in place of Homefront, not 7, as we told you earlier. And here are some of the stories we are working on for 6 o'clock. We will have more on the plan to redevelop West Las Vegas and the inside story on the protest at the federal building denouncing what happened in Waco.
A gas leak forced officials to close a busy intersection for several hours today. Construction crews working at the intersection of Jones and Washington hit a gas main. Traffic was backed up for hours while crews worked to fix the natural gas leak.
We got a call. Apparently a private contractor was excavating here in the area of Jones and Washington and inadvertently hit a 2-inch natural gas main.
Officials from the gas company have fixed the leak and all traffic is now running smoothly through the area. It almost feels as though summer is coming on. Finally, Nate, are these warm temperatures going to be lasting long?
Well, Allison, I don't want to go crawling out on any limbs I can't come back from, but I will go as far as to say that tomorrow will be the warmest day of 1993 so far. Meanwhile, there's been some thunderstorm activity throughout the upper Midwest, and you are invited to spend Earth Day with me at UNLV Sunday afternoon. We'll talk about it all in the weather next, inside Las Vegas.
This woman feels like an outcast in her own front yard. I just don't like her. Confronting the clique that rejects you on the next Oprah.
Wednesday afternoon at 4 on KTNV, Channel 13.
At Disneyland, you've seen Fantasyland, Frontierland, and Tomorrowland. Now here's a whole new land you've never seen before. Hey! Let me show you around. Take this crazy town.
Mickey's Toontown, new at Disneyland.
It's a brand new land at Disneyland.
Where there's smoke, there's chicken. Tender smoked chicken slices. Then there's melting cheddar and bacon. The new smoked chicken cheddar and bacon sandwich at Jack in the Box. Where there's smoke, there's These days, a lot of places offer you a burger for under $1. Trouble is, they mean it. But at Jack in the Box, 99 cents gets you a big quarter-pound burger. The only thing small about it is the price.
It's coming to Las Vegas Saturday and Sunday, April 24th and 25th. A giant open house with over 2,000 homes on display and all in one location. The Las Vegas Spring Real Estate Fair at the Hacienda Matador Arena Convention Center. You will be personally guided through the home buying process, the type of home you want, the price range you could afford, financing and furnishings. It's one-stop home shopping at its best. The Las Vegas Spring Real Estate Fair, Saturday and Sunday, April 24th and 25th at the Hacienda.
At Excalibur, mealtime is a feast of fine foods. The Round Table continues the tradition of abundance and value. Breakfast $2.99 featuring fresh squeezed orange juice and hot eggs Benedict prepared before your eyes. Lunch $3.99 and dinner $4.99. A bountiful selection of hot and cold entrees offered with hand-carved roasts hot from the oven. The Round Table at Excalibur, setting the standard of excellence in buffet dining.
Now, weather with Nathan Tannenbaum, president of the Southern Nevada American Meteorological Society.
A very warm day, however, maybe not quite as warm as it may have felt, unless you're down there in the suburbs. Look at Green Valley, close to 90 degrees still here at 5 o'clock. Henderson at 87, out in Boulder City, even a warm 86. 85 in Pahrump, you flip that around, and 58 comfortable degrees for Mount Charleston. Now the official numbers for the city at McCarran Airport at 5 o'clock. We're looking at a sunny 82. There are some scattered high clouds out there, humidity at 9%. Not very often we get those single-digit humidities. Just an easterly breeze at 5. We do expect the winds to pick up over the next day or two, and we'll show you why. The barometer's falling for now, 30.02. And let's take a look at our high today. Yes, 80. Actually, you know what? I think I need to change that. I think we had an 83 for the high today. Low this morning was 52, and the air quality in the good category. All right, here's the satellite picture, and it does tell the story. We do have just scattered high clouds over southern Nevada right now. There's a weak front that is approaching, and we do have some very warm air ahead of this front. And that's why we're going with a high temperature tomorrow close to 90 degrees. However, on the back side of this front, we're going to see some gusty winds and some cooler temperatures, although not cool by any means, just cooler. We'll probably be back down to the low 80s, if not perhaps the upper 70s. But the strong low-pressure disturbance remains well off the coast, and the main force of this energy will hit the Pacific Northwest with showers and thunderstorms. Again, all we're expecting are some gusty winds and somewhat cooler temperatures over the next day or two. Well, let's see what we did for high temperatures across the Silver State for today. There they were into the low low 90s in Laughlin, and the guys at the fire station are saying the gnats are beginning to come out, indicating that summer is on its way. But he says the guys down there say they're not too big of a problem just yet. Up in Beatty, Effie says 77, very comfortable with a little bit of high clouds. She called it cloud hangover up there. Well, let's see what the rest of the country is doing. We talked about some storms in the upper Midwest. They saw 2.5 inches of rain in southern Michigan, but in upper Michigan, they saw 1-inch hail. That included Lansing, Michigan, with some pretty severe thunderstorms. And here you see another front moving slowly through the south. Looks like the heavier showers are on the back end of that now over eastern Louisiana and southern Mississippi. Here we are back west with not a whole lot going on. Again, this front starting to come onshore with widely scattered and mostly light showers over the coastal sections of Washington and Oregon. So let's head on back home and see what the forecast looks like. Very, very nice. Just a few clouds and some breezes maybe picking up on Thursday, but the high may be reaching into the mid-90s for parts of the Lake Mount Charleston. Wow, getting into the mid-60s already. For us, for the rest of tonight, light winds to 15, just a few high clouds down to the mid-50s. And your Wednesday, we'll call it 88, but a possibility of hitting the 90-degree mark. Watch for the winds to pick up a little bit. Taking you through the rest of the week looks great. Looks like the mid-80s, and we mentioned possibly cooling down. And Sunday is Earth Day. I'll be out at UNLV from noon to 5 with all kinds of things talking about the environment. Ron?
All right, Nate. Tonight, new charges of NCAA problems with the UNLV basketball program. News 13 has uncovered documents that show a close friend of UNLV recruit Kibu Stewart received complimentary rooms at Arizona Charlie's Hotel and Casino in January of this year. The university is looking into the latest allegations of wrongdoing involving Stewart. We'll have more on this at 6 o'clock. We'll also update you on the university's investigation involving Nate Seabrun. He's a summer league basketball coach who was the middleman in an airplane ticket transaction where Stewart was given a free $600 flight home to New York by local businessman Jimmy Frank. We'll also have the latest on the investigation of academic fraud involving J.R. Ryder and the UNLV coaching staff at 6 o'clock. So a lot really to update you on and some new stuff on that. Also, the Joe Montana Watch, I think this is up to day 7 now with Joe Montana. The latest word I hear, Joe Montana is going to declare himself eligible for the NFL draft and try to go to a team that way. So we'll see. I don't know if he'll get away with it at 37 years old.
I heard he was going to the Ottawa Rough Riders.
That could be a possibility. Anything's possible at this point with Montana.
Okay, we'll find out. Allison.
Speaking of a rough ride, rolling the dice without leaving the pool. It's now possible. We'll explain in just a moment. But first, here's a look at our top story 1 year ago today.
After months of research, we've learned what people want most from an airline.
R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Find out when you fly with me.
At America West, we respect your need to feel comfortable about flying.
What you need, you know we got it. All we're giving is a lot of respect. R-E-S-P-E-C-T.
Yeah. So fly America West and get something you don't always get on other airlines.
The Hebrew Academy, offering a comprehensive curriculum for grades pre-K through 9. Small class sizes, interactive learning, a certified and caring staff.
The school provides, first and foremost, a very safe, caring, and sensitive ethical environment.
For information and registration, please call 255-4500.
A Dodge Ram pickup with a Magnum Cummins diesel has the power to out-torque, out-pull, just flat-out work Ford and Chevy diesels. Unquote. Dodge, the most powerful line of trucks anywhere.
Now get $500 cash back on regular cab Dodge Ram Cummins diesel pickups.
You're home when you get the idea to put in a new light. So you go to Home Base, where they've got over 30,000 items, including more light fixtures than you can count on your fingers.
For all your lighting needs, come to Home Base. We have the guaranteed lowest prices on Catalina lighting. This chandelier with beveled glass panels will help make any dining room look elegant. The beautiful polished brass finish not only looks great, but it's also made to last. And it's real easy to install. Home Base. It's that simple.
Las Vegas is changing. More traffic, pollution, people. How will the community cope? How will you survive? The Review Journal presents
Breakthrough. 4 pull-out sections. Your government, your environment, your money, your family. Look for it Sunday, May 23rd. It will help you survive.
It is one of the toughest decisions for tourists, the pool or the casino. Well, now they do not have to decide.
Maybe needs a new pair of shoes. All right, here we go. Mexico.
The Riviera has brought one of its table games out to the pool. It's the return of the floating craps, which made a splash almost 40 years ago. Players can bronze their bods and roll the dice at the same time. The only problem, what to do with your winnings.
Oh, what a dilemma. But on a bad day, you could get burned twice.
Hey, never thought about that.
Exactly.
Very good, very good.
More local news coming your way at 6 o'clock.
And World News Tonight with Peter Jennings is coming up at 5:30. Plus, there will be a special on Waco with Peter Jennings at 10 o'clock.
See you then.
You've been watching News 13, where reporters and photographers take you inside Las Vegas.
This is KTNV Las Vegas.